Ever wonder how a small, seemingly outgunned group can stand up to a modern, high-tech army? It's not just about willpower or knowing the terrain. It's about innovation, about thinking differently, and about turning an enemy's strength into their biggest weakness. Today, we're re-diving deep into the shadowy world of guerrilla warfare to uncover the turning points where clever tactics and surprising technology flipped the script on conventional military power, from the jungles of Vietnam to the mountains of Afghanistan and the digital battlegrounds of today. We'll explore how insurgents have consistently punched above their weight, forcing superpowers to rethink the very nature of conflict. This isn't just history, it's a masterclass in strategy. Let us start with a classic, the Viet Cong, and their incredible tunnel systems during the Vietnam War. Imagine this, a massive American force, equipped with air power, artillery, and advanced surveillance, is operating in a region. They sweep through an area, find nothing, and move on. Moments later, enemy fighters pop up behind them, seemingly out of thin air. How? The answer was right under their feet. The CG tunnels, for example, weren't just simple holes in the ground. They were a sprawling, multi-level underground city. There were living quarters, hospitals, command centers, and weapons factories, all connected by a labyrinth of narrow passages. These tunnels allowed the Viet Cong to control the battlefield from below. They could launch surprise attacks, ambush patrols, and then vanish without a trace. It was a low-tech solution that completely neutralized America's high-tech advantage in surveillance and firepower. American forces tried to counter them with tunnel rats, brave soldiers who went down into the dark, but the claustrophobic, booby-trapped environment made it incredibly dangerous and largely ineffective. The tunnels were a psychological weapon as much as a tactical one, creating a constant sense of uncertainty and fear. The enemy could be anywhere, even right beneath you. Now, let's fast forward a few decades to the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan. Here, the insurgents faced the most technologically advanced military in history. But they found a simple, devastatingly effective weapon, the improvised explosive device, or IED. It's easy to dismiss IEDs as crude, but their impact was strategic. They were cheap, made from common materials like old artillery shells, fertilizer, and cell phones. This meant they were almost infinitely available. Insurgents could plant them everywhere, on roadsides, in cars, even on animals. This turned the simple act of driving from one base to another into a life-or-death gamble. The US military poured billions into developing armored vehicles like the MRAP, or mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicle, and sophisticated jamming technology to block the signals that triggered the bombs. But for every countermeasure, the insurgents adapted. They switched from cell phone triggers to simple pressure plates or command wires. They learned to hide the IEDs so well that even the most advanced detection equipment could unfind them all. This tactical innovation had a massive strategic effect. It restricted the movement of conventional forces, locking them down in their forward operating bases. It drove a wedge between the soldiers and the local population they were trying to protect. And it inflicted a steady stream of casualties, eroding political will back home. The IED became the defining weapon of the war, a testament to how a simple, adaptable tactic can challenge a superpower. But the innovation didn't stop there. As the 21st century rolled on, the battlefield itself began to change. Let's look at how groups like Hezbollah have integrated more advanced technology. During the 2006 Lebanon War, Hezbollah demonstrated a shocking level of sophistication against the Israeli Defense Forces, or IDF. Everyone expected a swift Israeli victory, but it didn't happen that way. Hezbollah had spent years building a complex network of bunkers and communication lines. But they also added a new layer: modern anti-tank guided missiles, or ATGMs. These were not homemade rockets. They were advanced, Russian-made weapons, like the Kornet missile. Hezbollah fighters were well-trained, operating in small, mobile teams. They would wait in ambush, fire a missile at an Israeli Merkava, tank one of the most heavily armored tanks in the world, and then quickly relocate. They used decoys, encrypted communications, and even night vision equipment. This combination of classic guerrilla tactics with modern lethal technology stunned the IDF. Hezbollah also targeted an Israeli naval vessel with a sophisticated anti-ship missile, showing they could challenge Israel not just on land, but at sea as well. It was a turning point that showed guerrilla groups were no longer just fighting with rifles and RPGs. They were becoming hybrid forces, capable of using state-of-the-art weaponry to level the playing field. And now, we're in the middle of another evolution. one that's happening right before our eyes in conflicts like the one in Ukraine and clashes in the Middle East. The game changer: drones. And we're not just talking about the large, military-grade Predators or Reapers. We're talking about cheap, commercially available quadcopters, the kind you can buy online for a few $100s. These small, off-the-shelf drones have become the eyes of the modern insurgent and the small military alike. A soldier in a trench can launch a small drone and see over the next hill, spotting enemy positions with a level of accuracy that would have required a dedicated spy plane just a decade ago. But it goes beyond just surveillance. These drones have been weaponized. Fighters are attaching small grenades or improvised bombs to them, creating a form of They can fly these first-person view or FPV drones directly into tanks, trenches, or groups of soldiers with terrifying precision. It's a complete reversal of the traditional power dynamic. For decades, air superiority was the sole domain of powerful nations. Now, any small squad with a DJI drone and a bit of ingenuity has its own personal air force. This has forced armies to completely rethink their tactics. Soldiers need to worry about threats from above at all times, changing how they move, how they hide, and how they fight. The drone revolution is democratizing air power, and we are still just beginning to understand its full impact on the future of warfare. Finally, we can't talk about modern irregular warfare without touching on the digital front: cyberspace. Guerrilla warfare is fundamentally a battle for hearts and minds, and the internet is the ultimate arena for that fight. Groups like ISIS became notorious for their incredibly effective use of social media. They didn't just post threats. They created a sophisticated, global propaganda machine. They produced high-quality videos, glossy online magazines, and maintained a constant presence on platforms like Twitter, Telegram, and Facebook. This digital campaign served several purposes. It was a powerful recruiting tool, drawing in followers from all over the world. It was a way to intimidate their enemies and demoralize civilian populations. And it was a method of claiming credit for attacks and shaping the global narrative, often faster and more effectively than traditional news media. Governments and tech companies have been in a constant cat-and-mouse game, trying to shut down these accounts, but the decentralized nature of the internet makes it nearly impossible. For every account that's banned, two more pop up. This mastery of the information space represents another turning point. It shows that the battlefield is no longer just a physical place. The fight for influence, for perception, and for public opinion online is now just as critical as the fight on the ground. From the tunnels of Vietnam to the drones over Ukraine, the story of guerrilla warfare is a story of constant adaptation. It shows that in conflict, the side with the most expensive toys doesn't always win. Victory often goes to the side that is more creative, more adaptable, and better at understanding the changing character of war. Conventional armies are powerful, but they can also be slow and predictable. Insurgents thrive in the seams, exploiting the weaknesses of their larger foes with unexpected tactics and clever use of technology. Whether that tech is a simple shovel or a sophisticated drone, the key lesson is that innovation is the ultimate weapon. And the next turning point in warfare will likely come not from a billion-dollar weapons program, but from a clever idea that no one saw coming. Thanks so much for watching. What do you think will be the next major innovation to change the face of warfare? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into military strategy, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. See you in the next one.